life. We can hear the cry of the poor and the cry of the earth, and then act accordingly. Third, the beauty of creation. The Rabbi spoke about the divine beauty. Through a sense of mystery and silence, the ancient wisdom of the Orthodox Church teaches us to be grateful for the world that we both inherit and inhabit. Everything in this world is a sign of God, a seed of life. Everything, indeed everyone, contains this spiritual and eternal dimension. And the final value, the power of ascesis. In Greek we say askesis. This principle of self-discipline is sometimes identified solely to the monastics in the church. And of course we are not all of us called to become monks or nuns. But on the other hand, to rely only on material possessions to define who we are and where our priorities lie is not the most wise solution, the most wise way to follow. This principle of self-discipline is a basic virtue, mostly forgotten, and it is identified to the sufficiency, in Greek autarkia, or contentment. I remember the words of St. Paul, who used to say, "I have learned in all circumstances to be content." A sense of sacrifice opens up to a sense of generosity. It teaches us how to share. Ascesis leads to community. It is a way not of selfishness, but of service. Last evening, during our last meeting as religious people, we had the pleasure to receive Professor Klaus Schwab, who told us that during his conversation with Mrs. Angela Merkel, they they agreed to probably have as a general theme of the next World Economic Forum the theme of the lack of values. I mentioned some values which are valid, I think, I hope, to all of us. If this is the case next year, the theme of values will complete the theme of this year, the dedication to the improvement of the state of the world, because this improvement of the world will be based on solid foundations, which are our commonly accepted values. And if we found our world and its improvement on such solid basis, then we shall have economic development, we shall have democracy, we shall have respect of human rights, not human here and the rights in the plate in order to consume them. We shall be able, in such a case, finally, to live in a real communion, inner communion between us as human beings, not communication, not community, which has rather external terms, but inner communion, while respecting the identity, the personality, the uniqueness the otherness of our neighbor. Communion and otherness. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And now I call on Sadhguru Vasudev.
Nagendraharaya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambaraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya. Let me first of all explain the meaning of this chant. The one whose energies have reached the upper regions of his consciousness is absolute perception. One who is constantly aware of the mortal nature of life is the Lord of this life, naked of impurities, eternally pure. To such a one, who is formless and eternal, I bow down. When this is a chant or a verse in the honor of the first yogi and the first teacher of yoga in this world. When I say yoga, I am not talking about the impossible physical postures that you might have seen. When I say yoga, if we refer to yoga as an experience, the word yoga means union. If you have begun to experience the whole existence as one within you, if everything has become a part of yourself, As you consume this earth in the form of food and made it a part of yourself, if you have made everything a part of yourself in your living experience, this is yoga. One who lives in this state is a yogi. If one exists in this sense of inclusion of experience, as a living experience of his life, the inner dimension is absolutely settled. One is in perfect harmony with the existence. One is completely in harmony with his own existence. But when it comes to the external realities, the contemporary questions definitely need contemporary wisdom. The most basic thing that is necessary is to bring a clarity of perception. There is a whole science and technology which we are referring to as yoga. When we talk about yoga as a method, we are referring to a whole technology which leads you on to this inclusion, which brings absolutely clear perception of the realities in which you exist. If one wants to function effectively in this world, what is needed is not just knowledge. What is needed is clarity of perception. Whatever the nature of one's work, if one is unable to perceive the realities in which he exists right now, his actions will be of no relevance. So bringing this clarity of perception and then take the right course of action is what is needed. So modern questions definitely need contemporary wisdom. When I say contemporary wisdom, it happened like this. On a certain day, an old-timer on the Great Lakes of Michigan, on a winter day, went out to do ice fishing. He cut a hole in the ice, put his line in, started smoking his pipe, sat down for a long wait, waited through the morning, through the noon, into the afternoon. Late into the afternoon, still he had not caught a single fish. Then he found, around 4:30 in the evening, a young boy came with a big stereo on his shoulders, blaring at full volume, dancing and jiving. Came and sat down nearby, cut another hole, and sat down and put his line in. The old-timer looked at him in great disdain. I have been sitting here the whole day, in total silence and with utter patience, and I haven't caught a single fish. The fool comes with a blaring stereo and hopes to catch something. And to his amazement, within 10 minutes the boy had a big trout. He dismissed it, oh, flash in the pan. But to his utter amazement, in another 10 minutes the boy had another big trout. Now he sat up and watched. In another 10 minutes the boy had one more trout. Now he could not contain himself. He kept his pride aside, slowly walked down to the boy and asked him, I have been sitting here the whole day and I haven't caught one. I see you just came 30 minutes ago, you already have 3. What is the secret? The boy said, Ru-ra-ra-ra-ru-rum. The old timer said, what is that? Ru-ra-ra-ra-ru-rum. Please, I do not understand what you're saying. Then the boy spat out a blob of something into his hand and then said, you have to keep the worms warm. It gladdens my heart in the last few days. I am beginning to see in the business leaders with whom I have been associated for a long time in various levels, there is a new sense of clarity of perception, and there's a new sense of commitment about what needs to be done. This is wonderful. Thank you very much.
Well, it's impossible to make a synthesis of what we have heard, but I'm so grateful to my colleagues for their profundity and the way in which they've articulated so very clearly some of our needs and aspirations. I think, there's a twofold challenge. The first challenge comes to the world in which we live, to take faith seriously. There was a Gallup poll done just a few months ago which indicated that 65% of the world regard themselves as religious. Only 6% regard themselves as secular. Africa, and I'm sorry we haven't got any African leader here present, 91% define themselves by their religion. In many parts of the Middle East, they will say, I'm a Muslim, before they say, I'm a Jordanian. And the same will go for other faiths as well. So we have to say very strongly, and we're so glad that the World Economic Forum take faith seriously as it does. More could be done. There's a second challenge, I'm sure, that comes to us as faith leaders. How can we hold together our exclusivity within inclusivity? I think Imam Faisal was talking about that earlier. How can I, as a Christian, say, yes, I believe passionately in Jesus Christ, but I see God in others, and I don't want to de-godify them in some way. How can I hold this together? And it's still a question I wrestle with day by day. But often when I see my dear friend Jaggi representing the Jewish faith, how much he and I have in common, and I would say the same to Matthew, ecumenical patriarch, David, Imam Faisal. And that's our challenge. How can we bring the wisdom together and share it? Last night we had a wonderful orchestra, didn't we? And music, the concert was terrific. And I got an image from that. As I saw the musicians, I saw different musicians there, the cellists and the violinists and viola players and so on, the wind sitting behind, different instruments coming to play one glorious music. And as I thought about it more, I said, actually, this music is coming from wood and resin And catgut, I don't know if strings are made out of catgut these days, probably not. But all the ordinary things in life, ordinary human beings playing this, and somehow something exquisite emerges from ordinary people. That young man picking up the violin and playing so magnificently, and I saw him in the party afterwards, just an ordinary guy. And that maybe is how the divine uses you and me. Maybe our challenge, and we can express our challenge ourselves. How can we unite our different faiths while holding together our distinctiveness to say, yes, but I see something in you that want me to yearn to make this world a better place. There's a story, as my friends are very good at stories, I've got a story too, about the young boy in an English church rushing along only 5 minutes before the end of the service, and he rushes up to the door, sees the church warden, and says, "Has the service ended?" And the church warden corrected him. He said, "Well, you ought to say, has the worship ended?" "Yes, the worship has ended, but the service is just about to begin." That is our job today. You will be handed an olive branch, olive signifying peace in all our faith. Do take it back home, put it in your study, put it in a prominent position, and may we commit ourselves to making this world a better place. And in the words of the World Economic Forum motto, to improve the state of the world. Let's have a moment of silence and use this time, just a few seconds, to meditate, and then Michelle and Corinne will give us our final piece of music, and we're so grateful to you both for joining this interfaith gathering. Our gratitude once again to Professor Sharp, our gratitude to Sandra Costa Marini for helping us and to put this event together this morning. So a moment of silence. Give us your wisdom, O Heavenly Father, to heal the wounds of our world.